he's telling me to start, but I am going to start now. Welcome everybody to the February 9th Stakeholder and External Outreach Committee meeting. I don't think I got an agenda as an attachment to the notification of the meeting, which isn't really that big of a problem. This meeting is fairly formulaic, and so I'll kind of just start with, are there any presentations from anyone that would like to share some information with the class from staff level stuff? I think somebody told me that Bren had something. Hey, Bren.
Hey. The first couple of items on the agenda are actually probably going into a consent agenda, which is the extension of COVID-19 emergency measures, the automatic bus wash, and legal fees. Do you want to go over those first before you go into presentation, or you want me to go into presentation first?
Skip the COVID. What's the bus wash and the second one?
Bus wash and then some legal fees. So I'll let David jump on.
The legal fees I've got a good grasp of. If Bobby needs an update on those, I'm happy to do that here, but I'm fine. I've got that.
Okay.
Sorry to steal your thunder, David.
That was my one of my two things. So the bus wash is a capital project to repair the bus wash that we have at Central. My understanding is the bus wash hasn't actually worked in a couple of years, and currently staffers are washing the bus by hand with like power washers and stuff. So it's grossly inefficient. Plus, the new bus wash will clean the front of buses, fixed route buses, and paratransit buses. So this will be not only fixing a broken thing, but improving what we had from before. And this is a capital project, so 80% from FTA, 20% from T-SPLOST.
And it's costing how much?
$240,000 roughly.
Really? That seems low.
Yeah, we were actually kind of pleased. We thought it was going to be a lot more, but because we're just replacing a structure that's already there, all the drains are in, all the plumbing's kind of there. It's just replace the equipment, hook it up, and should be good to go. So we were actually pleasantly surprised that it was at the 240,000 mark versus higher. I think that's a reflection of the fact that we have a bus wash. We're just basically gutting it and putting in a new system. That's
got it.
Going right in where the other one was.
All right. Yeah, the other two on the agenda items under number 3, and thanks, Dion, I just got this. That's helpful. Now I know what I'm doing. I feel up to speed on COVID-19 extensions unless there are any changes to the previous months that we have moved this forward. Are there any changes?
No changes.
No.
Okay. Is Bobby Lockett on here? Commissioner Lockett?
He is, yes, sir.
He is?
He is.
Commissioner Lockett, if you have any questions, feel free to jump in. I'm happy to take the time to have these explained, but if not, I feel up to speed on both these, on COVID-19 and Buchan-Falligan legal fees.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I am here, sir. Bobby Lockett.
Yes. Can you hear us all?
I can hear you well, and I can hear very well. Thank you.
Would you like an explanation on the legal fees for Buchan-Falligan before we move on? David,
sure, I'll pick it up as I go. Thank you very much.
What do you think, David? Should we?
I can give a brief summary. So we're just basically seeking authorization to pay the 2019 fiscal year 2019 legal fees presented by Buchan-Falligan. The agenda says partial year, but in a subsequent email that I sent around to the board, Mr. Butler is going to be changing, basically accepting that as the full year payment. So that'll be changed once it goes forward to the board. It'll be full year, fiscal year 2019 legal fees payment.
For a total of 41,447.
Yes, that's correct.
And as I've understood it from your email this morning, the extra, there might be extra fees, but those are being waived.
Yes, yeah. So, yeah, that's essentially right. There likely would have been, but he's just essentially going to waive that and just accept the 41 as the full and final payment for fiscal year 2019.
Got it. And there are no matches on this payment. This is just simply from our budget.
Yeah, from our operating. Yeah.
Commissioner Lockett, do you have any questions on that?
I do not at this point.
Okay. All right. Very cool.
It was well explained.
Okay. What's up next? We've got old business, 100X Airport Express. Hi, Bren.
Hi there. So just wanted to give you a reminder and a recap of where we are with the 100X airport shuttle. Last fall, the board discussed suspending the airport shuttle so that we as staff could work with to reimagine the route in a more efficient manner. We know that in FY20, we were paying approximately $80 per customer for the airport shuttle, which is high. And so it was scheduled to be suspended with the Sunday service in November. Now, we did speak to the Airport Commission. They understood our reasoning and were fine with that. And again, we were looking to reimagine what it could look like. But due to the fact that the Sunday service suspension was canceled, this was lumped in with that, and also the suspension was canceled. So we are currently still running the 100X service. Now, if you remember, the board did agree in the fall to suspend it, but we just wanted to come back as we're in-house doing our board changes and about to put them up in the month of March. We just wanted to confirm with the board that everyone is still on the same page with suspending the current 100X. And I'm using the word suspending on purpose because we don't imagine that it will be a permanent suspension. We know that this is an opportunity for us to reimagine what this route looks like. Should it be a smaller vehicle? Should it be an on-demand service? Should it be a route that loops around into other areas and isn't as direct of a shuttle? There are many questions that we've been asking about this route, and we want to get to the bottom of that, but we just wanted to confirm with the board that y'all are still on the same page with us temporarily suspending this service while we reevaluate what it should look like.
Bryn, what would our financial, I would imagine that since we're not spending money on the operating cost and the fuel, that this is a financially beneficial move, although that isn't, a reason to remove service. Maybe in this case it is. What are we looking at in terms of savings month over month?
In FY20, on average, we spent about $27,000 a month on this route, which came out to an annual cost for FY20 of $271,673. We haven't yet determined how long we might suspend this service, but we can imagine that if we were to suspend it for a year, we would save about $271,000.
Interesting. Okay. Has anybody else in any of the other committee meetings brought up any concerns on suspending it?
I think the main concern so far has been that it's not an elimination of the route, but it's really a suspension for us to make this route more efficient. That was really the only concern. It does seem like everyone else agrees that, it's not working the way it is, but we don't just want to throw it out completely.
So there were board members that were concerned that it was going to go away entirely, but you're just saying it's going to be suspended.
Correct.
Okay. Commissioner Lockett, do you have any questions on the 100X suspension?
I do not.
Okay. Have we communicated, I know that with the airport commission, but I think that's an important relationship to keep going and maintain for sure, especially as we try to reinterpret what this route can be. And so I would just, and of course, I have all the trust and faith that y'all are doing this, but just make sure that we do, I don't know, send them some flowers, or just, make sure that we're doing this on the same page with them. I think it does make absolute sense, and I've been supporting the suspension for a while, but I want to make sure that we contain, we make sure that's a healthy relationship with that. And that makes sense to be talking about now, because we're in the Stakeholder and Outreach Committee, and they are both stakeholders and people that we need to reach out to. That's interesting.
Perfect.
Okay. If you got anything else, let me know, but if not, let's move on to the new business.
So the next new business is me, 5310 program. The 5310 program is an FTA program that is for enhanced mobility of seniors and individuals with disabilities. It is slightly different from a regular FTA program that is often administered by the FTA. This one is administered by the Department of Human Services, and we would act as a contractor for services. It is allocated based on annual programs of projects, and their fiscal year starts July 1st with our fiscal year. So we are currently in contract discussions with DHS. We have not received 5310 funding recently, and we wanted to pick that funding back up. So we are working through our contract paperwork now. We do not anticipate any new programs coming out of this immediately, but more so we anticipate getting reimbursed for programs that we already provide. So eligible activities for this program include public transportation projects for seniors and individuals with disabilities that exceed the requirements of ADA, that improve access to fixed route services, and decrease reliance on paratransit. So for example, one of the programs that we already run that fall into this category is travel training, where we train folks to have less reliance on paratransit and be able to successfully ride fixed route. So again, we are currently working through the contract documentation with DHS, and the next step is for them to then tell us how much funding they can offer us for fiscal year 22, which again starts July 1st. At that point, we would bring back the contract to the board, the full board, for approval of the program, and I anticipate that to happen in March or April. So again, we're not looking at new programs. We're just looking at getting reimbursed for programs that we already run right now. And in the future, we anticipate there are opportunities for us to increase our programs and go beyond what we currently do in the 5310 program, which is exciting.
So have we been reimbursed for this before?
I believe we have. It's been several years since we have gotten funding, and so we'd like to pick that program right back up.
And is this something that we get reimbursed for, or that moving forwards we could get payment for on the front end?
It's formula funding, so I think that it works both ways, similar to the 5307 program.
Okay. Great. I mean, I love, that's a very good opportunity for extra funding for that, especially not having, not on our shoulders locally. Commissioner Lockett, you got any questions?
Say that again, please.
Commissioner Lockett, do you have any questions on that?
I do not. I was listening very closely, but I do not have any questions. It was very well explained.
Okay. All right. Then
Thank
let's
you.
move to the Garden City expansion.
So I'm just going to share my screen now so you can see the map that I'm looking at. We are excited about the Garden City Transit District expansion. And as you know, in the fall, we were invited to present to the board. The board was optimistic and gave us the thumbs up to start working with their staff. So we started working with their staff late last fall, and have been working on a phased development plan for expansion of the transit district. As you can see on this map, the sections in red are the sections in Garden City that currently are part of the transit district. And you can see here along Route 21 that there's this northern section that's in the transit district. There's this southeastern section, but we're missing this middle section of Route 21. So phase 1 of the transit district expansion proposal will be filling in this gap here along Route 21. And that's where the current school is, where the future school is being built. And we've had multiple requests for service along this corridor. So we basically are working with the city to choose the commercial districts along this corridor and add them into the transit district. In addition, in phase 1, right here in the northernmost section of Garden City, we are looking at expanding the transit district here. This area on both sides of Dean Forest Road are, this area is mostly industrial with a little bit of commercial along Dean Forest Road. So we propose that this section be part of phase 1. And again, we're not looking at any residential properties. We're not proposing that at all, but commercial and industrial properties that can be included in the transit district, where we think the most service is being requested. Now, the second phase of our proposal will be further south and to the west in Garden City, here along the Dean Forest corridor. We're really excited with Garden City to see so much development happening. They've got a lot of industries coming in along Dean Forest Road and along Louisville Road. And we're just feeling that based on staff's feedback, we're feeling that there's going to be a lot of need for service in this area. So that is our phase 2 of the transit district expansion plan. And that will be, once that development gets further along, some of those are just in the engineering stages, some of them are in the construction phases. So as those developments move forward, we would propose that much of that Louisville Road and Dean Forest Road area be included as well in the transit district. And that section may be, it may be a new route for CAT, it may be a different route, or it may be an expansion of an existing route that loops in and comes back down. We're not sure exactly how that one works. But again, phase 1 up there along the corridor of Route 21 and along that northern edge of Dean Forest Road, that is where our Route 3, I believe, already travels. So that's a pretty easy spot to put service in, won't impact much service at all. It will just add a couple of minutes to our routes, and we can provide service up there where we have been getting requests. So I'm super excited about this expansion possibility. We are presenting it for the first time to the Garden City City Council on Monday the 15th at 5 p.m. in Garden City. And again, once we have more direction from Garden City as to if we're headed in the right direction or they want us to alter our direction, we will then bring it back to the board for a more formal presentation. But at this point, just wanted to include you in the loop. And actually, our next board meeting is after the Garden City meeting, so I'll have more information then.
I would imagine that Garden City and this board will be interested in actually seeing like which parcels you're looking into including, and how to thread that needle between which ones are on the, on the red side and on the not red side, according to this map. Because I think it's, that'll really sort of, determine, that could determine a lot and could be, the interesting part of this. I had another question. I'm personally really interested in seeing the estimated tax returns from the areas that will be annexing in, and the additional operating cost of servicing those annexations. This will be the first time we've actually expanded service with land through an annexation like this since I've been on the board. We kind of did the reverse of it in Thunderbolt. And so I just think this, the math and the numbers for how much more we will be collecting versus how much more we'll have to be spending is going to be important for me to see as a to protect the agency and make sure we're able to keep this going and sustainable. But I am excited about the prospect of providing more transit service for folks in Garden City. I think it's great.
Excellent. I agree with you. We've pulled parcels and we have a tentative map to present to Garden City, and certainly we've also internally looked at what that will bring in an increase in tax district. Of course, we want to. We know that the next step will be in Garden City's hands for them to then decide if they're moving forward and how they'll go about, when they'll go about collecting that additional tax. So I anticipate after this next meeting, I'll have much more information to share with you.
So it also seems that this is a possibility for expansion into other cities and other municipalities. It's not sort of like all of Garden City, all at once, but it is sort of incremental and focused on areas that, really truly need some service. And I think that's a really interesting thing to consider for future expansions into other cities as well.
Mr. Chairman?
Have any other municipalities contacted CAT about service?
I know that our former CEO was in discussions with Port Wentworth. I do not know off the top of my head where those conversations have been most recently.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
have we began our conversation with Garden City yet?
I'll direct that to you, Bren.
Yes. Again, and I want to say in November, we were invited to the board meeting. We presented very preliminary conversation to the board, and were given the approval to go ahead and work with staff, thumbs up to work with staff. So we've been working with staff these last couple of months, and this Monday will be the first time that we present a working plan to the full council.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else, Bren?
That's it for me.
All right. For anybody else on this call, if you have any new business or comments or questions, I'm happy to entertain that. If anybody has any updates, I'm not really sure who else is on here right now. We got Miss Ragland, me, Bobby. Okay, well, nobody's jumping up and down. It looks like we have a governance meeting on February 16th, and we have a regular board meeting on February 23rd. I know the board meeting will probably happen around 10 a.m., if I'm correct. And the governance meeting is at 11, or is that also at 10?
It's at 11.
Great, thank you. Quick note of that. Okay, well, without further ado, thank you guys so much for sharing what you're working on with us. It all looks great, and I'm excited to be supporting it in our board meeting on the 23rd.
Thanks.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Lockett.
Thank you very much, and it's been a good meeting.
Absolutely. Ciao, ciao.
Beverly, you have to stop the meeting.
I'm ending it right now. Thank you.